First question is, so Teslagrad launched in December 2013. And did development on World to the West start immediately after that?
Yes, it did. It was very early developments, and so it was in the beginning. We will only take like a day a week. Then one guy was working on it, and it scaled up gradually until the entire 10-man team is working on it now. But yes, right after Teslagrad was done, we already had some early ideas. Actually, in Teslagrad there are a few Easter eggs and hints about the World to the West and what's going to happen in it. Yeah. So there were, we already had a strong idea what the story and the place was going to be even before that.
So Teslagrad was a commercial and critical success. And which role did this success play in planning this follow-up game?
Oh yeah, Teslagrad did great, but this is also set in the same games universe as Teslagrad, but it's a very different sort of game. One of the reasons we did that is because, of course, we want to keep something around from Teslagrad, but we don't want to repeat ourselves either. We find that something good is usually a combination of something new and something old. So since we were going to keep the familiar characters and world around, we wanted to do a very, very different game. Actually, this is something we want to focus on in the future as well, sort of taking with us the game world and story, but making games that are dramatically different from each other.
The Norwegian Film Institute granted you some money for development in 2014. How did this happen, and how was development influenced by this funding?
Norwegian developing things in Norway can be a bit hard because we have to compete for every developer with the oil industry, and they have infinite amount of money. But so the Norwegian Film Institute exists because Norway still wants to have some cultural export. So they give a grant to many promising arts or are promising both films and games. And many of the games that do come out of Norway have some degree of funding from there. In this particular instance, it was easier to ask because Teslagrad already existed, and it was a great export of a Norwegian game that had reached a bigger audience. And because they wanted to see this again, and because we were going to need a bigger team than we had on Teslagrad in order to pull this off, they were willing to give us a grant so that we were able to make a game of it. I mean, it's quite much larger scope of this game than it was at Teslagrad.
How big is your development team, or how many employees does the studio have?
So Teslagrad was scaling up from approximately 3 people working to 6, and now we're approximately 10. And we still have some people outside the office doing sound work and other different specific tasks, but 10 people in office.
So I understand that World to the West isn't quite a sequel to the game, so to Teslagrad. How would you describe the connection between the games?
The opening credits in this game start just like they did in Teslagrad. When they fade away, you see that the background just starts as the game itself. And do you see the father of this and of the last character we played, being the character from the last game, and you sort of introduced to what happened to the nation after the events of Teslagrad. And you carry on that particular story, but it's only one of 4 characters that go into this game, so it's only like a fourth of the story that derives directly from Teslagrad. But still, there are characters, more than that one character, there are several characters in this game that have their roots or origins from the world of Teslagrad. So we do continue on that sort of thread from there, and we get to see what happened to everyone.
So Teslagrad was development using Unity engine, I've read. Do you develop this game also using Unity, or is it a custom engine?
This is Unity as well. Unity can do a very big variety of different things. So it's just a question of what you want to do with the engine. And as long as we're developing for Nintendo platforms, using Unity is by far the easiest. If not, we would have to build our own tech from scratch, and that is a lot of work. It's actually a very good device for anyone who wants to make games. It's something I was told by a veteran when we just started out. You either build a game or you may build a game engine. You have to choose one. So if you start your game development by building an engine, then it's going to be 3 years just to let the tech guys be finished with that before you can start game development. You get something fancy, you can get like the best graphics if you build everything special for this one game. But most likely, this is what will end your company if you try to do this, unless you're a giant.
I think you still haven't announced when it will release and the platforms aside from Wii U. Can you give us some update on that?
All right. So this is scheduled to release in the first quarter of next year, and I'm not going to be any more specific than that. But in addition to that, we have already there is a build for PCs. We plan to do this on PC, Wii U, and PlayStation 4 when they release simultaneously. And then we will look at other platforms to do as we go along.
Teslagrad first launched first on Wii U, then on the other consoles.
And the first console was the Wii U, but we launched on PC half a year before that as well. I mean, as a new team, we knew that we were building a big game for PC. It's actually funny how we ever got into contact with Nintendo. Yeah, it was quite a coincidence. We were very happy to have them invite us build for their console as well. But nonetheless, we had started up in building for PC, so I was going to come out first. So Teslagrad just came out one after the other of the different consoles, until in the end we had them all. I mean, really all about them, but Teslagrad is on everything.
So with this game also shown on Wii U first, how did this come along that you're showing it here the first time? And I also have to ask if you would be interested in porting it to NX. Can you say something about that?
Oh, yeah. Who knows anything about the NX at this point, right? So, then it's very hard to make any promises, but we would like to. We're following that particular thing with great interest, and we have a very good idea about what it's going to be and what we're going to do about it. But making any promises before the hardware is nailed down, properly announced, would be stupid. Nonetheless, I believe there will be an NX version of this. It is one of the, it's for sure one of the things that most of the developers as the office look forward to porting it for.
I guess that Teslagrad was in development for around 2 years, and this
3.
game, 3? Yeah.
This one, 3 as well.
So that's actually kind of long. So do you have any plans to expand your staff, expand your studio to release the games faster?
We're trying out creating a secondary development team for that particular reason. So my hopes is to have approximately 3 teams of the same size running, so that we can manage to still use 3 years for a game. Because I do believe that in order for a game to actually be good and well polished, it takes about that amount of time. Unless you're making something very, very small. And this game isn't small at all. Teslagrad is also sizable for being the first one. So if we want to do something like that, we have to look at that sort of development time. And but with 3 teams, then we could release 1 game every year, and people wouldn't have to wait so long for the next one.
Well, yeah, that's it already then. Thanks for answering.
Yeah. So, is there anything you want to see? Any of the other characters or something funny? I showed you a little bit of this character.
Yeah.
I can show you another one real quick. We're going to have a little look at something I've never seen done in one of these sort of games. You play 4 different characters during this adventure, and this one is Terry. And Terry is all about manipulation. So she has a way to make the monsters of the world do what she wants. Now we're going to have a quick trip out and find some innocent monsters to do our bidding. Now, every living monster in this world can be controlled by Terry in this way. So there's both like innocent little animals like we're going to do now, or larger monsters that you can walk around with. And all of them have very different ways of moving and very different abilities. So you have to think carefully about what abilities are of the monsters that are in the level with you, and you can exploit them to do different tasks for you. These guys are small enough to get through holes, and they are able to jump. So they can do stuff like that. It's also if you press jump, but just when they land, it's sort of like a bouncy ball until they hit the wall. So yeah, we try to make every character have a set of abilities that sort of represents their personalities, and it ends up with very different people liking very different characters, either the strong ones or the sneaky ones, or something like Terry that is able to get her will every time. Yeah, do you have any questions for me, by the way?
Well, how long is the playing time?
Oh, just the demo here is 4 hours already, we found out, so it's a bit too long. But I think the entire thing is going to clock in around like 16, 20 hours, something like that. All right. This is a little, yes.
Reminds me a bit of Zelda, Link to the Past.
Yeah, so, sort of something like that. It's also like the caves were never mapped in Zelda, but you can go like that, and you have like all the caves make a giant cave system under the world as well. Some of them are filled with water, some of them are cleared with or there might be secrets or monsters, and you can find shortcuts for the upper overworld by the different tunnels down there. It's its own little maze-like world. Yeah. So,
is there something you plan on Wii U gamepad implementation? Using the Wii U gamepad?
Oh yeah, like one of my very favorite things about Teslagrad was playing on the Wii U, because I was able to put it on the screen and take it with me. We do a lot of testing of our games, and then being able to bring it to the sofa and just sit there and lay down and play, that was actually very relaxing compared to like sitting or standing, which is the usual things. In addition, okay, so we have the map. And when we're able to put the map on this screen, and you can see yourself move on the map, this helps a lot with navigation of such a large world as this. Yeah, different menus and things. And of course, you have a button to press, and you put everything in off-screen play. It's sort of a must-have feature for most Wii U games, I guess, because again, it's a great thing to have. And yeah, it also makes it like whatever the NX is going to be. I think that if you are able to run the entire game on one screen, it's probably be easier to implement it there as well. Originally, we were wondering whether we were going to do any implementation of 2D, of two-player mode in this, but we haven't. This might be something we come back to, especially since the NX might be pretty focused on that, but it is a tall order. So it's not something that we dare say that we'll manage to do.
I really love how he's looking like.
Yeah.
Closing.
This guy is an experiment in seeing how big a combat system we could make with 2 buttons. So he has like 5 moves and there's only 2 keys. Running, but if you go from that and release it, he does this. If you push the punch button from there, he does that. And if you punch while you run, he does that. This is a normal punch, and if you hold in, he does that. So it's a whole repertoire of stuff. Also, every character can jump off ledges, but when he does it, if you press attack, it sort of makes it a slam like a wrestler. People might actually remember this monster from Teslagrad. They were in there as well. Whoops. Yeah, he can't really turn very fast when he runs. But he also can run straight through these guys.
right, thanks.